are listening to 90.1 FM WEFT, and we are on location at the Crystal Lake Labyrinth. Yay! So we can get our centering on and learn some powerful benefits of meditation. I have with me here today Dr. Pam Blosser from the School of Metaphysics to talk about meditation and all of the benefits, and as well as the School of Metaphysics and what's it all about. So we are bringing more to you as we do another episode of Health in Soulful Being in conjunction with Urbana Public Television, heard on Sunday evenings, or shall I say seen on Sunday evenings at 9:30, Channel 6 for Comcast users, Channel 99 for AT&T Uverse users, and of course you hear it live on Thursday morning menu with me, Renee Angela, bringing you soul, fullness of soul, music news and commentary and interviews that makes your soul full. Dr. Pam, welcome. Thank you for coming and sharing your knowledge with us and the public at large. How are you?
I am great.
Wonderful. Well, we can just get right into this interview. First of all, I would like for you to just kind of give my listeners and viewers a little bit of background about yourself and about the School of Metaphysics. And so,
all right.
Just a little bit.
Well, the spiritual path is something that I've always been interested in my whole life. And I was really active in my church, and when I traveled abroad and I lived in Japan, did Zen meditation.
Oh, wow.
Actually, I don't call it meditation. Did Zen. And actually, every country I've ever been to, I've gone to the temples.
All right.
I wanted to go to where the people worship.
Okay.
So that's always been a very, very important part of my life. And I had traveled around the world, lived overseas, came back to the United States, and that's when I found the School of Metaphysics. And there was a lot in the School of Metaphysics that I really wasn't that familiar with,
Okay.
like the mind over matter, that kind of thing. So I was introduced to a lot of things that I hadn't done before, which was really good. So I learned, the basic things about the School of Metaphysics are training the mind, honing the mind so that it can be your tool that you can use for your life,
Yeah.
to bring out your potential. And so that begins with you learning how to focus your attention and concentrate. That's the basis of anything, whether it's a relationship, a job, school. It's the basis of anything that you
Right.
want to do. When your concentration improves, everything improves in your life. And concentration is a forerunner to meditation.
Oh, okay.
Because if you try to sit down to meditate and your mind is scattered and going every which direction, it's very, very hard to meditate. So in the School of Metaphysics, the students don't even get meditation until they have been concentrating for 6 lessons, and then they get meditation. But the school also offers, it's a comprehensive study about the whole self. It includes things like dream interpretation and really how to bring out your potential, how to really be who you are meant to be and fulfill your purpose in life.
The full authentic self.
Absolutely. And that really is the crux of the school. And there's a lot more to it, but that really is like the essence of the school.
Wonderful. Well, you were saying that the forerunner to meditation is a concentration and focusing. What are some good techniques or exercises that one can do to help rein their mind in and bring it down? Because like you said, a lot of times we're scattered, and then a lot of time, and then people tend to want to just jump into meditation, and they're saying, oh, well, it doesn't work for me. I can't quiet my mind.
Right.
But that's probably because they hadn't tried to learn to focus it first. So
Right.
what are some exercises or techniques that people can do to bring their mind down to a focused thought?
A very widespread practice in a lot of practice. In fact, when I did Zen, this was the very first thing that my priest, the priest that I was under, had me do. And you can find this in a lot of different religions of practices like yoga. And it's basically watching your breath, the inhalation and the exhalation. It's just being aware of your breathing, that in and out.
And I I've even noticed that people don't even realize they don't breathe properly a lot of times.
Right.
So I know for me, myself, I didn't realize that when you inhale, you're supposed to be kind of ballooning your stomach, and then you relax and exhale into that realm. And so I've noticed that a lot of people don't even become aware that they're not breathing properly. So even in the breath, they might just be...
Or not even breathing.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes we don't even breathe.
Right.
We forget. If you start getting tense, sometimes you actually stop breathing.
Yeah.
And when you're not breathing, of course, your body's not getting oxygen, or you're breathing, if you breathe really shallowly, your body's not getting the oxygen that it needs, and therefore you're tired.
Yeah.
And taking a few deep breaths, if you're feeling tired, taking a few deep breaths can make a big difference.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that. I'll have to try that when I start feeling tired. Just take a couple of deep breaths.
Right.
I was speaking with a yoga instructor several weeks back, and interviewing her for the show, and I remember her saying sometimes, like when you start, like you said, tense up or get angry or something like that, that if you just let out this something
Right.
like that, that just makes everything come down and get you regulated in your breath. Does that also have an effect on your mind as far as your theta and the beta levels as well?
Yes.
So
yes.
how is that?
Well, the breath is the part of you that really ties the body to the soul, because we don't have to think about breathing. We breathe automatically, so that is regulated actually by our soul, or our subconscious mind. So when you start intentionally breathing, then it quiets the body, it quiets the mind, and in doing that, it does change the brain waves.
Okay.
In fact, I was at the Parliament of the World's Religions a few years ago, and there's a woman who had done, at the University of Chicago, who had done research in what occurs in the brain when you just basically watch your breathing.
Okay.
And try to remember exactly what one of them was that the limbic system was activated, and that endorphins were excreted. So you have a good feeling. The limbic system has to do with your feelings, so it is calming. It's definitely very calming to the body and the mind as well.
And gets you all into that oneness. Okay, so what is meditation? For those of people who are just completely, they've heard it, they don't know, but they really don't know, they just heard the term. What is meditation?
Right. And since meditation has come over to the United States, like it was really introduced, a lot of the Eastern religions were introduced with the Parliament of the World's Religions in 1893. And in the last 100 years, there's been a lot of widespread yoga, Buddhism, Zen, and all this meditation has come into it. And this is my theory. I don't know if this is true or not. Historically, I've never seen anything.
Okay.
But I believe that this is why and how it was started. That meditation was done in monasteries and convents and nunneries. And the nuns and the priests and the monks weren't necessarily just doing that meditation for themselves only, but they were meditating for the world. So they knew if there were these calm centers in different places on the planet, that it would have an effect on the whole planet.
Oh, wow.
And I really believe that's what the monasteries were all about. They were kind of like these divine focus centers, right? that were there to spread meditation. When we think of meditation in the United States, often we think of something that we're going to get from meditation, how we're going to benefit from meditation.
Yeah.
And there's truth in that. I mean, you do. No matter anything that you do for other people, you really are benefiting. And it does. It helps there's many benefits to meditation. So meditation is a going within. It's a stilling of the mind, a stilling of the body, and a going within. And it is a high form of concentration on something that is transcendent. I mean, that is in its pure sense. That is meditation. There's a lot of practices that are done under the umbrella of meditation. But
What are some of those practices?
Like the guided imagery, the things that you get on tape.
Okay,
listen to those. I wouldn't call those meditations. There definitely are prerequisites to meditation, but you meditate. Music, people listen to music, which is great.
Yes.
All of these things, there's nothing wrong with it, but in the pure sense of the word, it's not meditation.
Okay.
It's like a prerequisite to meditation.
Oh, okay.
Even when you think about the beads that we have in the religions,
Yes.
the Catholic, that's a form of meditation because it's a form of concentration. That's something that's repeated, and it's a concentration on something that's transcendent.
Okay.
So the rosary and the mala that the Buddhists use,
Right.
and the Hindus use, those are a type of meditation. But when the school teaches it, it's more like you are in silence. You don't have beads or music. You just sit, and that really was Zen. When I was doing Zen,
Okay.
you sit, and Zen is really about mindfulness, being mindful in everything that you do. And sitting, it wasn't called meditation; it was called sitting. And you didn't. And so your mindfulness was meant to go throughout your whole life,
Okay.
not just when you were meditating or when you were sitting still. It was meant that you were mindful and aware 24 hours a day, no matter what you were doing. Sitting was just one of those things that you did.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. My goodness, I'm at a lost for words at this point. I know that I've heard about transcendental meditation. Is that any different than the forms that we just discussed in your knowledge? What is that? Because I've been hearing a lot about TM, transcendental meditation. Oprah's talked about transcendental meditation. And so it's becoming a really big thing now amongst people here in the States. So I was just wondering what was the difference in a sense.
In transcendental meditation, a person receives a mantra. Basically what a mantra is, it's holy words that they repeat over and over again.
Okay.
They receive a mantra on a personal level. Like the teacher says, this is your mantra. So, and I haven't done TM, so I've not received a mantra.
Okay.
But that's their mantra to repeat. And in that repetition, and again, the repetition of holy words, no matter what they are, brings peace. And they have also found that, you're talking about the brain waves,
Yeah.
that when you do the TM, that is the alpha, you go into an alpha
Okay.
state. Now it's really interesting because the Tibetans, they found that they go into a different brainwave pattern, which is called gamma, because their meditation, what they call meditation, their practice is different. They are praying for the world.
Okay.
They are praying for
Yeah.
the world. Their mantra, so to speak, is first of all, may I be happy and free of suffering. May the people I know be happy and free of suffering. May all people be happy and free of suffering. And then may all sentient beings, which is like animals, everything.
Yeah.
May all sentient beings be happy and free of suffering.
I noticed that when the Tibetan monks, when they were doing the blessing ceremony, and they had everybody, we had these sheets of paper, and that was the first time I had actually heard a mantra that said, may all sentient beings. And I said, wow, sentient. So I was like, I have to ask that question, about these sentient beings and why incorporate the sentient beings, because most people would be like man or human or something like that, because that's probably what we've been conditioned to, without thinking of the animals and the plants and everything that is in existence in our perception or views or anything like that. So I thought that was a very interesting way to pray in that sense of let's encompass all. So I thought that was really cool.
And I guess that's another reason why I believe that the monasteries, they were praying for the world. They were praying that the world be saved or whatever their prayers were. They were praying for the world. There was a study done. I really love the study of meditation on the body and brain. And there was a study of two groups of people. One group was doing that prayer, the Tibetan prayer. Another group was just talking about the things in the world that need to change and how they can change. And then after a time, after they'd done that, they put both groups under some kind of some kind of pressure they were under. And they wanted to see how their body would respond. And the only thing that they found, which was very interesting, was that the group that had done the Tibetan prayer, there was less inflammation in their blood. Inflammation is what causes disease.
Wow.
And so the other people, there was the inflammation in their blood, but in the ones who had practiced the Tibetan prayer, there wasn't. So you can see that it does help you be healthier.
Yeah.
It does do that.
And what are other benefits of meditation? Now we see that the Tibetan prayer mantras can help with the blood. So what other benefits are there to meditation?
It does release endorphins. It does.
And endorphins make you happy.
Right. And it activates the front left lobe of the brain. And the front left lobe of the brain has to do with creative thinking and problem solving. They took two groups of people who were in states of depression. They gave one group antidepressants. They had the other group meditate. I'm not sure what kind of meditation they were doing, but they were doing some form of meditation, calming, and that kind of thing. And then they looked at their brains to see, what had changed, what was active. What they found was the people who were on antidepressants, it was the limbic system, which deals with your feelings. And with the ones who were meditating, it was that that frontal cortex, which deals with the problem solving and the creative thinking. So you think more clearly, you solve problems more easily, you're happier, you're healthier. I mean, there's a lot of benefits that you experience that may not even be a reason why you're doing it.
Yeah. I know for me and just my own personal experience of focusing in meditation, and I have to say that I did learn this at the School of Metaphysics. I mean, to really hone in, and what I noticed was at first it was that you wanted to have that, or shall I say, I wanted to have that same experience that you hear on television, where people are like, I'm seeing lights and I'm floating and all this other stuff, and I'm like, I felt like a failure sometimes because I'm like, well, I don't see any light, But I noticed that as I was focusing more, as I was meditating more, as you guys had taught me, that I was a lot calmer in those stressful situations. So it was like I didn't fall off the handle. It was just like, okay, if some type of crisis came about, it was like, okay, let me bring it in and let me kind of calm it down, as opposed to, okay, here's this crisis, let me just barrel in and bulldoze over it and then get my head peeled. So that's one of for my own personal experience of meditation and focusing, and I really need to get back to that. So you heard it here on Health and Soul for Being, folks. I am really admitting to myself I need to get back to meditating again, because like you said, I noticed the change within myself of where I was able to calm down. And I think that had I not even just had that stretch of time where I was really meditating, where I was really focusing a lot, that when the cancer came about, it was just like, okay, I'm coming into it. And I noticed that the further I moved away from the meditative process, then the more anxious I've gotten, and the more just the stress I have gotten, and I can actually feel my body now being in distress, just from the beginning of my cancer journey, where I was just like, oh, that's cool, and oh, okay, if that's what we're gonna do, let's do it. And then towards the end of my cancer journey, that's when my body started going into, I've been in a panic mode, in a sense. So that's why I was saying that I need to get back to meditation, so that I can bring that sense of panic down.
Right.
Do you think that if people meditated more collectively, because we've had a lot of distress especially in the States as of recent. It's not just even natural distresses with not hurricanes, but tornadoes and earthquakes and that kind of realm, but also just the distress of where more people are turning to suicide. gun violence. Actually, I heard on what was it, Super Soul Sunday, that there were more suicides than there were murders in the last couple of years. And so, do you think that if we collectively would meditate, do you think that would be very beneficial for us as a collective conscious in not just the United States but all over the world?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because when you think about it, if people can be calmer, we wouldn't need prisons. We wouldn't have prisons. Probably a lot of people who are ill, they wouldn't have the diseases they have. There'd be a lot greater health. There would be a lot more peaceful interactions with people. Or just let's talk this out. We disagree, but let's talk it out rather than let's duke it out or I'm just going to kill you because you don't agree with me. Yeah, I definitely agree.
Or I'm just sad and so I want other people to be upset as well.
Right.
So, yeah.
And people are turning to medication. And I don't know that medication is the answer because there are so many side effects that are destructive. I mean, some of the side effects of medications are suicidal or homicidal.
I just a little side note on my own personal experience. I remember being on some antidepressants at one time, and I had, I believe, the most suicidal thoughts of where I would just drive down the street and I'd be like, okay, what if I ram my car into this pole? I would think these crazy thoughts like that, and I'm not negating medications because I for people who have that chemical imbalance and if it does help immensely, but like you said, sometimes you have these side effects and then you go to the doctor and say, I had the craziest thought or something like that, and then they want to give you a medication for the side effects, or a pill to get them up in the morning, a pill to make them go to sleep, a pill for them to function through the day, or when it just might be 5 minutes of meditation that will last you throughout the whole day, as opposed to that 10 seconds that it takes you to get the water and pop the pill.
Absolutely. So, the students they start out with a 10-minute concentration exercise, and really if they do that religiously every single day for 10 minutes, amazing things occur for them. It's amazing to me. People who've gone to counseling for years and gotten so far with it do the concentration exercise for a month or two, and they get further in a month or two with that, just with doing that concentration exercise, than the years that they spent with their counselor. And I'm not putting counseling down because it's got its place and it's valuable. But it's just showing the power of
and from my own personal experience, I was in counseling therapy for like 5 years, and I really felt like I never, and this is me personally, like you said, I'm not trying to negate therapy because it works. For my own personal experience, I felt like I got nowhere, but when I was doing the concentration exercises at the school, within weeks, I unlocked some things about myself that I was like, whoa, wow, that's, that's cool to bring the light. And I felt like, as I said, when I got to this point in my space last year where I found out about the cancer, I was a lot calmer because there were certain things that I had already dispelled about myself and had already brought the light. And so one of the first things that happened with the cancer journey, I was like, okay, this is a spiritual thing too. So so I did not panic as much, and it radiated a lot better because then I started attracting. I cannot say enough about the cancer team that I had. I mean, from my surgeon to my oncologist to the chemo nurses, I had angels. They were all named after angels, and then one was named Grace. So I had like these archangels that were my chemo nurses, and so I was like, I felt like that was all an attractive force because that I started off the year so wonderfully with learning to focus my thoughts, learning to meditate, so that everything wouldn't just go whoosh. There would probably even maybe or 3 years ago, I probably would have been in a constant state of panic, and I think my healing process has actually escalated and became faster because of that experience of meditation and saying this is a spiritual, or in concentration we're saying, okay, let me look at this from a different perspective. I always love when people say dis-ease instead of disease, because I really believe that's what it is. It's a dis-ease, and then if you look at it from that perspective, you can say, what is the dis-ease as opposed to what is the disease? This disease is killing me. But, you know, so I think the benefits of meditation is amazing, and